Right.
Yes.
Okay, Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom, Judith.
And welcome to those who are listening around the world, because our broadcast has been picked up many places around the world. We thank God for it. We are celebrating the seventh-day Sabbath along with all of Israel around the world. They are doing as God commanded from creation. When God created all there is in 6 days, and on the seventh day he ceased from creation and did not do anything on any creation on the seventh day. And he hallowed that day. And to reiterate it, when Israel came out of Egypt and they were wandering in the desert, and God provided manna for them to sustain them, and he told them for 5 days they were to collect a certain amount. If they left it over, it was going to spoil. And on the sixth day, he told them to collect twice as much, so that they did not have to go out on the Sabbath to collect anything. They collected enough on the sixth day so that it did not spoil on the seventh day. And so, as God is fond of saying,
the Sabbath is on God.
Because he prepares it, he provides for it, so that we can sit at his feet starting sundown on Friday. We can sit down at his feet to hear what he has prepared for us to take into the next week. Because we have been depleted from what he gave to us. We have given it to the world. Whatever he gave to us last Shabbat to give to the world, we've done it. And so we're going to plug back into him and say, Father, show us what you would desire us to give to the world by studying his Torah. Because all around the world, the Jewish people are studying from the Torah, a Parsha, a portion of the Torah. And the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament. And so all throughout the years divided into weekly Parshas. And this Parsha for this week is called פינחס. And it's from Numbers 25:10 through 31. And in my Torah, it's divided into 3 parts, I believe. The first part is punishment and reward, Numbers 25:10 through 18. The second one is of census and women's inheritance, Numbers 25:19 through 27:23. The third is entitled Offerings, Festivals, and Vows of Women. And that's from Numbers 28:1, and I want to make sure that is the last one, 28:1. Yes, through 31. And it begins, V'yedaveh Adonai el Moshe lamor, פינחס ben Eleazar ben Aharon HaKohen Hashiv et Chamati me'al bnei Israel bekano et kanati betochem velo kilati et bnei Israel bikanti. The Lord spoke. Oh, hold on. Okay, the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, פינחס, son of Eleazar, son of Aaron, the priest, has turned back my wrath from the Israelites by displaying among them his passion for me, so that I did not wipe out the Israelite people in my passion.
Psalm 46. The Lord is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Excuse me. Therefore will not we fear, though the earth be removed, and though the mountains be carried into the midst of the sea, though the waters thereof roar and be troubled, though the mountains shake with the swelling thereof. There is a river, the streams whereof shall make glad the city of God, the holy place of the tabernacle of the Most High. God is in the midst of her. She shall not be moved. God shall help her, and that right early. The heathen rage, and the kingdoms are moved. He utters his voice, the earth melted. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Come, behold the works of the Lord. What desolation he has made in the earth. He maketh war to cease unto the end of the earth. He breaketh the bow, and cutteth the shear in sunder. He burneth the chariots in the fire. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the heathen. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. This is the word of the Lord. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. May your kingdom come, and may your will be done. We give thanks to you, Lord God, for you have brought us to and into your Shabbat, your day of rest, your day that was blessed at the beginning of creation, and through this blessed day, all the other days of the week receive blessing. And we on this day, Lord, rest and draw near to you, and worship you and give thanks for what you have done for us and continue to do for us. For you have sent Christ Jesus, our Messiah, who has reconciled us and who has paid a debt we could not pay. And on this day, we celebrate and give thanks, along with our brethren the Jews, whom you brought out of the house of bondage, out of Egypt, and commanded them to observe this day, this Shabbat, because of your power and might. You delivered them into freedom out of this slavery, and commanded them also to worship and to give thanks, to rest, to draw near, to give great honor to God and sing praises to him. With glad hearts, we rejoice in this great freedom, Lord, and we give you thanks. And we give thanks also for the Christ you have sent, for the Spirit that remains with us and guides and nudges us. And in the Christ's name we pray. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotze lechem min sawa. Blessed art you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who gives us bread from the earth. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei pri hagafen. Blessed art you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who gives us the fruit of the vine. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom, Judas.
On this wonderful day that the Lord has made, let us rejoice and be glad in it. All right, the first part of the Piנחas, which the translation, it's the Negro, because he was black. And it is, the first part is punishment and reward. And that's Numbers 25:10 through 18. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Piנחas, son of Eleazar, son of Aaron, the priest, has turned back my wrath from the Israelites by displaying among them his passion for me, so that I did not wipe out the Israelite people in my passion. Say therefore, I grant him my pact of friendship. It shall be for him and his descendants after him, a pact of priesthood for all time, because he took impassioned action for his God, thus making expiation for the Israelites. The name of the Israelite who was killed, the one who was killed with the Midianite woman, was Zimri, son of Salu, chieftain of the Simeonite ancestral home. The name of the Midianite woman who was killed was Cosbi, daughter of Zur. He was the tribal head of an ancestral house in Midian. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Assail the Midianites and defeat them, for they assailed you by the trickery they practiced against you, because of the affair of Peor, and because of the affair of their kinswoman Cosbi, daughter of the Midianite chieftain, who was killed at the time of the plague on account of Peor.
Okay, this is a continuation of what happened last week when Piנחas killed, well, last week it just mentioned it was, didn't mention their name, just mentioned, how did it say?
Well, last week?
Yeah, it should be fairly close by. Just mentioned a Midianite woman and one of
Just
the
then,
children.
in verse 6,
Yeah, verse 6.
just then one of the Israelites came and brought a Midianite woman over to his companions in the sight of Moses and the whole Israelite community,
Right.
who were weeping at the entrance of the tent of the meeting. When Piנחas, son of Eleazar, son of Aaron, the priest, saw this, he left the assembly,
Right.
and taking a spear in his hand.
Yeah, okay. Now, there it did not mention their name. But here, starting in this parsha, it does mention their names, and not only their name, but their title. And you may ask yourself, well, why is that? Why not mention their names then and not necessarily now? And one of the teachers mentioned, or the thinking is, well, they didn't mention their names then, is because to mention their names in verse 6 would just take away. The emphasis would be on them and not on what Piנחas is doing. So it was more or less to highlight what פינחס was doing and not to elevate who these people were. And that's why it's done, that's why it's believed the names are not mentioned. Now, these were very noble people. These were not the run-of-the-mill folks. These were the people of the upper crust. These were leaders. And this is also another moral collapse, another moral failure, similar to the failure at the golden calf. But two major distinctions here with the golden calf. One, Moses was on the top of the mountain, and he wasn't with them with the golden calf. And two, when Moses returned, he, how should I say it, wanted to take vengeance on the people who were involved in the golden calf. And one of those people was Korah. And they took vengeance and they killed about 1,000 people or so. But here, it doesn't give us the numbers yet, but I understand they killed about 2,400 people. A lot more than that. They were not killing them. God started a plague and was killing them. So this was another moral failure. And what was the moral failure? Sexual immorality. God hates sexual immorality. And I don't know, maybe Balaam, well, he knew about that, but I don't know if he knew about the event with the golden calf. May have. But God hated that and took vengeance. Moses was with them, but Moses didn't know what to do. פינחס had nothing against Zimri, nothing at all. He was working, he was zealous for God, and he wanted to take vengeance on him. And what God also did, God kind of stepped in. And what he did, he gave פינחס something that he would not have gotten initially, because although he was a grandson of Aaron, he would never have been a priest. And but because of what he did, he was elevated to the priesthood. He wouldn't have been a priest because Aaron already had his sons, and had his 4 sons. So God gave him what some teachers call it a spiritual reward. And the spiritual reward doesn't come easy. There's a cost to it. Now, when the Jews spell the word peace, well, to us it's peace, but in Hebrew it's shalom. And the middle letter, the L, is spelled with a broken letter, which is an indication that any spiritual reward comes at a price. And it's basically a fractional piece. I guess if we wanted to spell it with peace, we'd have a broken A in the middle, meaning that a spiritual reward comes at a price. There are consequences, and you pay for that. It's not something that comes without consequence.
Without cost.
Without cost. Now, some say, or some of the teachers say that פינחס reigned as priest and high priest for a couple of centuries. So they had
Not centuries.
couple of hundred years.
פינחס for a couple of hundred?
Well, not him, but his descendants.
Mm.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't explain that right. But this was not only given to him, but also his descendants. And
Okay, the friendship.
yeah, and this was initiated by God, and it was also so the people know that God was behind it.
Right.
This was not some vigilante action. In fact, if Piנחs had anything against Zimri or even that other lady, if he was trying to get even, it would have been some type of vigilante justice, and that would not be accepted. And I think that's all.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Next.
Peace comes with the price.
Next session is of census and women's inheritance, Numbers 25:19 to 27:23. And it reads, when the plague was over, the Lord said to Moses and to Eleazar, son of Aaron, the priest, take a census of the whole Israelite community from the age of 20 years up, by the ancestral homes, all Israelites to bear arms. So Moses and Eleazar the priest, on the steps of Moab, at the Jordan near Jericho, gave instructions about them, namely, on the step, namely, those from 20 years up, as the Lord had commanded Moses. The descendants of the Israelites who came out of the land of Egypt were Reuben, Israel's firstborn, descendants of Reuben, of Enoch, the clan of Enochites, Palu, the son of Paluites, of Heron, the clan of Hezronites, of Carmi, the clan of Carmites. These are the clans of the Reubenites. The persons enrolled came to 43,730. Born to Palu, Eliab. The sons of Eliab were Nemuel and Datan and Abiram. These are the same Datan and Abiram chosen in the assembly who agitated against Moses and Aaron as part of Korah band when they agitated against the Lord. Whereupon the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up with Korah. When their band died, when the fire consumed the 250 men, and they became an example, the sons of Korah, however, did not die. Descendants of Simeon by their clan, of Nemuel, the clan of the Nemuelites, of Yamin, the clan of the Yaminites, of Yakin, the clan of the Yakinites, of Zerach, the clan of the Zerites, of Saul, the clan of the Saulites. Those are the clans of the Simeonites. Persons enrolled 22,200. Descendants of Gad by their clans, of Zephon, the clan of the Zephonites, of Haggai, the clan of the Haggites, of Shuni, the clan of the Shunites, of Ozni, the clan of the Oznites, of Eri, the clan of the Erites, of Arod, the clan of the Arodites, of Areli, the clan of the Arelites. Those are the clans of Gad's descendants. Persons enrolled 40,500. Born to Judah, and Onan. And Onan died in the land of Canaan. Descendants of Judah by their clans, of Shelah, the clan of Shilamites, of Perez, the clan of the Perizzites, of Zerach, the clan of the Zerahites. Descendants of Perez, of Hezron, the clan of the Hezronites, of Hamul, the clan of the Hamulites. Those are the clans of Judah. Persons enrolled 76,500. Descendants of Issachar by their clans, of Tola, the clan of the Tolites, of Puvah, the clan of the Puvites, of Yashub, the clan of the Yeshubites, of Shimron, the clan of the Shimronites. Those are the clans of Issachar. Persons enrolled 64,300. Descendants of Zebulon by their clans, of Zered, the clan of the Zeredites, of Elon, the Zebulites. Persons enrolled 60,500. The sons of Joseph were Manasseh and Ephraim by their clans. Descendants of Manasseh, of Machir, the clan of the Machirites. Machir begot Gilead, of Gilead the clan of Gileadites. These were the descendants of Gilead, of Ezezer, the clan of the Ezerites, of Helek, the clan of the Helekites, of Azriel, the clan of the Azraelites, of Shechem, the clan of the Shechemites. Of Shemida, the clan of the Shemidites. Hefer, the clan of the Heferites. Now Zelophehad, son of Hefer, had no sons, only daughters. The names of Zelophehad's daughters were Machlah, Noach, Haglach, Milcah, and Tirsak. Those are the clans of Manasseh, persons enrolled 52,700. These are the descendants of Ephraim by their clans, of the Shetelach, the clan of the Shetelites, of Becher, the clan of the Becherites, of Tahan, the clan of the Tahanites. These are the descendants of Shutelach, of Aran, the clan of the Aranites. Those are the clan of Ephraim's descendants, persons enrolled 32,500. These are the descendants of Joseph by their clans, the descendants of Benjamin by their clans, of Bela, the clan of Belites, of Ashbel, the clan of the Ashbelites, of Ahiram, the clan of the Ahiramites, of Shephufam, the clan of the Shephumites, of Hufam, the clan of the Hufamites. The sons of Bela were Ard and Naaman. Of Ard, the clan of the Ardites, of Naaman, the clan of the Naamites. Those are the descendants of Benjamin by their clans, persons enrolled 45,600. These are the descendants of Dan by their clans, of Shuham, the clans of the Shuhamites. Those are the clans of Dan by their clans, and the clans of the Shuhamites persons enrolled 64,400. Descendants of Asher by their clans, of Emah, the clans of the Emanites, of Ishvi, the clans of the Ishvites, of Beriah, the clan of the Beriites, of the descendants of Beriah, of Heber, the clan of the Heberites, of Malchiel, the clan of the Malchiites. The name of Asher daughters was Serach. These are the clans of the Asher's descendants, persons enrolled 53,400. Descendants of Naphtali by their clans, of Yaziel, the clan of the Yazielites, of Guni, the clan of the Gunites, of Yezer, the clan of the Yezerites, of Shilam, the clan of the Shilamites. Those are the clans of Naphtalites. Clan by clan, persons enrolled 45,400. This is the enrollment of the Israelites, 601,730. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Among these shall be the land he apportioned as shares, according to the listed names. With larger groups, increase the share. With smaller groups, reduce the share. Each is to be assigned its share according to its enrollment. The land, moreover, is to be apportioned by lot, and the allotment shall be made according to the listing of their ancestral tribes. Each portion shall be assigned by lot, whether for larger or smaller groups. This is the enrollment of the Levites by their clans, of Gershon, the clan of the Gershonites, of Kohath, the clan of the Kohathites, of Merari, the clan of the Morites. These are the clans of Levi, the clan of the Libnites, the clan of the Hebronites, the clan of the Machalites, the clan of the Mushites, the clan of the Korites. Kohath begot Amram. The name of Amram's wife was Jochebed, daughter of Levi, who was born to Levi in Egypt. She bore to Amram Aaron and Moses and their sister Miriam. To Aaron were born Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar and Ithamar. Nadab and Abihu died when they offered alien fire before the Lord. Their enrollment of 23,000 comprised all males from a month up. They were not part of the regular enrollment of the Israelites, since no share was assigned to them among the Israelites. These are the persons enrolled by Moses and Eleazar the priest, who registered the Israelites on the steppes of Moab, at the Jordan, near Jericho. Among these there was not one of those enrolled by Moses and Aaron the priest, when they recorded the Israelites in the wilderness of Sinai. For the Lord had said of them, they shall die in the wilderness. Not one of them survived except Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, son of Nun. The daughters of Zelophehad of Manassite family, son of Hefer, son of Gilead, son of Machir, son of Manasseh, son of Joseph, came forward. The names of the daughters were Machlah, Noach, Haglah, Milcah, Tirzah. They stood before Moses, Eleazar the priest, and the chieftains, and the whole assembly at the entrance of the tent of meeting. And they said, our father died in the wilderness. He was not one of the faction, Korach's faction, which banded together against the Lord, but died for his own sin. And he has left no sons. Let not our father's name be lost to his clan, just because he had no son. Give us a holding among our father's kinsmen. Moses brought their case before the Lord, and the Lord said to Moses, the plea of Zelophehad's daughters is just. You should give them a hereditary holding among their father's kinsmen. Transfer their father's share to them. Further, speak to the Israelite people as follows. If a man dies without leaving a son, he shall transfer his property to his daughter. If he has no daughter, you shall assign his property to his brothers. If he has no brothers, you shall assign his property to his father's brothers. If his father had no brothers, you shall assign his property to his nearest relative in his own clan. He shall inherit it. This shall be the law of procedure for the Israelites in accordance with the Lord's command to Moses. The Lord said to Moses, ascend from these heights of Abiram and view the land that I have given to the Israelite people. When you have seen it, you too shall be gathered to your kin, just as your brother Aaron was. For in the wilderness of Zin, when the community was contentious, you disobeyed my command to uphold my sanctity in their sight by means of the water. Those are the waters of Meribah Kadesh in the wilderness of Zin. Moses spoke to the Lord, saying, let the Lord, source of the breath of all flesh, appoint someone over the community, who shall go out before them and come in before them, who shall take them out and bring them in, so that the Lord's community may not be like sheep that have no shepherd. And the Lord answered Moses, single out Joshua, son of Nun, an inspired man, and lay your hand upon him. Have him stand before Eleazar the priest, and before the whole community, and commission him in their sight. Invest him with some of the authority, so that the whole Israelite community may obey. But he shall present himself to Eleazar the priest, who shall on his behalf seek the decision of the Urim before the Lord. By such instruction they shall go out, and by such instruction they shall come in, he and all the Israelites, the whole community. Moses did as the Lord commanded him. He took Joshua and had him stand before Eleazar the priest, before the whole community. He laid his hands upon him and commissioned him as the Lord had spoken through Moses.
Well, that's quite a bit there. A couple of things that are interesting. And let me mention the first one first. This goes back, this covers a lot of territory too. I did mention about Korach. When he died, the ground opened up and it took him down along with Dathan and Abihu. These were people who gave Moses a gift. But the sons of Korah did not die, and it is believed they repented somehow and were saved somehow. But in verse 11 says that the children of Korah did not die, so something happened that they did not get swallowed up by the ground. And even tonight's song that I read was written by the Sons of Korah. I think I did the same thing last Shabbat as well. But they repented, and they were saved, and they did not live the same type of life their father lived. Another thing here, the verse 46 of chapter 26, and just threw this line in, it's so odd. And it said, and the name of the daughter of Asher was Sarah. And nothing else is said about her. And I'm not sure why that is there. But it's there. There has to be a reason. They need to do some more research on that. I don't know, but it's there. And generally when I think of these readings, they don't mention women's things, but it mentions two groups of women, mention this lady here. And I don't know. Later on it mentions Zelophehad's 5 daughters, and it just kind of struck me. These were these ladies were the descendants of Joseph.
You're right. I don't remember that.
Yeah, I didn't even. Manasseh is through the tribe of Manasseh. And what happened? This deals with the inheritance. Who inherits what? And God lays out who will inherit what. If there are more men, if there are more men, they would get more land. If there's less men, it's less land. Let's say every man gets an acre. Well, every man would get an acre. But each tribe, if one tribe was bigger than the other, they'd get more acreage. And they would use the Urim and Thummim to decide who gets what land. You know, you're dealing with two things: how much land they get and what land they get. So this is the part about the inheritance. Now, as this was mentioned, and one part, that there's one person, it does not mention what they will inherit directly. And that person was the wife. You know, if she's living, her husband died, what land did she get? Well, it's completely silent. But here, the inheritance, I guess, is, we think of it as a basic right. And what these ladies, they had a problem with, was that they don't get any land. And it's not that they want the land for themselves. They're saying, why should our father name not be remembered because he didn't have any sons? So they came with a protest. The first Presbyterians here, they came with a protest, and what they considered it to be was an injustice. And God had passed a decree, had set out this decree out, and the decree dealt with how the land was to be inherited. So the daughters didn't think that was right. And what did they do? They went to Moses. And what did Moses say? Well, Moses didn't know what to say. He didn't have an answer. So he went to God. Now, I think I did mention this man, we tend to think that he wasn't part of the chorus group, so he wouldn't get swallowed in the pit. And he wasn't part of the golden calf group, because the golden calf group got wiped out with a knife.
Right.
He was probably not part of, although maybe too close, he was probably not part of the snake group, because, well, he may have gotten bitten by a snake and healed. But not before the snake statue was built. And he was probably not part of the group, of the Zimri group, that fell into adultery. I tend to think he was the guy, and a lot of teachers tend to think he was the guy who was picking up sticks.
Mm-hmm.
And because they said he died of his own sin.
Mm-hmm.
He sinned, wasn't with anybody else. It was his own sin that caused him to die.
Mm-hmm.
And he was part of the rebellion. I think they would mention that too. With the spies rebellion, he did the sticks. This is based by a process of elimination. Could be wrong. So Moses didn't know what to do, and he goes to God. And God agrees with what the ladies were saying.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes up with a new divine law, or maybe even a modification of the divine law, but it's new. And you would think so. Gee, when God was laying out this law, why didn't he just add it? Why didn't he just say it? If a man has no sons, it goes to his daughters. But God didn't say it. So if God didn't say he was doing it for a reason, so how does this come out? How does this play out? Perhaps God was looking through some type of influence, some type of human influence of a human being to come and push the case forward. You know, a man could have come by and said, you know, son, Moses, there could come a time when there are no daughters, no sons. What happens then? But no man's going to bring that up. Only a woman would bring that up. I guess men wouldn't think about that. What the comment I made, one of the teachers make the same comment, or similar comment, but we only get, or we can gain, what is by our own rights and what God deems as ours when we open our mouths and ask for it or demand it. Maybe they were demanding it. But there's some things we're not going to get until we open our mouths for it. Even though there's a law, there's a decree, but the decree can be modified or adjusted, and it was. And it was a divinely ordained law. Is based on the needs and choice of human beings who will be the recipient. So every decree is designed for human beings. But without their input and insistence, you know, God, even God may be powerless to act. So if there's some things we don't ask for, God probably won't act on our behalf. He wants us to open our mouths and make these requests. And this is what they did. And by doing so, God came, modified the decree. He's waiting for us to show some initiative, and that's what he does at times. And I think this is an idea. Obviously, we know we can go to God and make these requests, but for this request, they had to go to the leaders. It's not something that they could just pray for and hope it would happen. You had to go to the leaders because they were in charge of the distribution. So you just couldn't just pray and hope for it.
Right.
Because the leaders would have said, okay, God said that's fine with me, and why modify it? But God waits on us to wants our input and to bring about certain divine, how do I call it, divine ordained laws. So that's it. And God acquiesced to them. Later on we'll leave, there are some caveats to this, but these ladies wanted to remember their dad's name and wanted to be mothers in Israel. Now, I guess it's easy when you think that these were the daughters, descendants from Manasseh. Now, Joseph, did spend time in the promised land, but his children never did. They may have gone to the dad's funeral, but they never spent any long time there. And these ladies are descendants of him, and they wanted to. And anything else I have? I think that's all I have.
Okay, that's good. The last part
Oh, I'm sorry, and this is also talked about the death of Moses.
of it, the last part of the section is entitled Offerings, Festivals, and Vows of Women. And this is from Numbers 28:1 through 30. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Command the Israelite people, say to them, Be punctilious in presenting to me at stated times the offerings of food due me, as offerings by fire of pleasing odor to me. Say to them, These are the offerings by fire that you are to present to the Lord. As a regular burnt offering every day, 2 yearling lambs without blemish. You shall offer 1 lamb in the morning, and the other lamb you shall offer at twilight. And as a meal offering there shall be 1/10 of an ephah of choice flour with 1/4 of a hin of beaten oil mixed in. The regular burnt offering instituted at Mount Sinai, an offering by fire of the pleasing odor to the Lord. The libation with it shall be 1/4 of a hin for each lamb, to be poured to the sacred precinct as an offering of fermented drink to the Lord. The other lamb you shall offer at twilight, preparing the same meal offering and libation as in the morning, an offering by fire of pleasing odor to the Lord. On the Sabbath day, 2 yearling lambs without blemish, together with 2/10 of a measure of choice flour, with oil mixed in, as a meal offering with the proper libation. A burnt offering for every Sabbath, in addition to the regular burnt offering and its libation. On your new moons you shall present a burnt offering to the Lord, 2 bulls of a herd, 1 ram, 7 yearling lambs without blemish, as meal offering for each bull, 3/10 of a measure of choice flour with oil mixed in, as meal offering for each ram, 2/10 of a measure of choice flour with oil mixed in, as meal offering for each lamb, 1/10 of a measure of fine flour with oil mixed in. Such shall be the burnt offering of pleasing odor, an offering by fire to the Lord. Their libation shall be 1/2 a hin of wine for a bull, 1/3 of a hin for a ram, and 1/4 of a hin for a lamb. That shall be the monthly burnt offering for each new moon of the year. There shall be 1 goat as a sin offering to the Lord, to be offered in addition to the regular burnt offering and its libation. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month, there shall be a Passover sacrifice to the Lord. And on the 15th day of that month, a festival unleavened bread shall be eaten for 7 days. The first day shall be a sacred occasion. You shall not work at your occupations. You shall present an offering by fire, a burnt offering to the Lord, 2 bulls of a herd, 1 ram, 7 yearling lambs. See that they are without blemish. The meal offering with them shall be of choice flour with oil mixed in. Prepare 3/10 of a measure for a bull, 2/10 for a ram, and for each of the 7 lambs prepare 1/10 of a measure. There shall be 1 goat for a sin offering to make expiation on your behalf. You shall present these in addition to the morning portion of the regular burnt offering. You shall offer the like daily for 7 days as food, an offering by fire of pleasing odor to the Lord. They shall be offered with their libations, in addition to the regular burnt offering, and the 7th day shall be a sacred occasion for you. You shall not work at your occupation. On the day of the first fruits, the Feast of Weeks, when you bring an offering of new grain to the Lord, you shall observe a sacred occasion. You shall not work at your occupation. You shall present a burnt offering of pleasing odor to the Lord, 2 bulls of the herd, 1 ram, 7 yearling lambs. The meal offering with them shall be of choice flour with oil mixed in, 3/10 of a measure for a bull, 2/10 for a ram, and 1/10 for each of the 7 lambs. And there shall be 1 goat for expiation in your behalf. You shall present them. See that they are without blemish with their libations, in addition to the regular burnt offering and its meal offering. In the 7th month of the first day of the month, you shall observe a sacred occasion. You shall not work at your occupations. You shall observe it in a day when the horn is sounded. You shall present a burnt offering of pleasing odor to the Lord, 1 bull of the herd, 1 ram, and 7 yearling lambs without blemish. The meal offering with them, choice flour with oil mixed in, shall be 3/10 of a measure for a bull, 2/10 for a ram, and 1/10 for each of the lambs. And there shall be 1 goat for a sin offering, to make expiation in your behalf. In addition to the burnt offering of the new moon with its meal offering, the regular burnt offering with its meal offering, each with its libation as prescribed, offerings by fire of pleasing odor to the Lord. On the 10th day of the same 7th month, you shall observe a sacred occasion when you shall practice self-denial. You shall do no work. You shall present to the Lord a burnt offering of pleasing odor, 1 bull of the herd, 1 ram, 7 yearling lambs. See that they are without blemish. The meal offering with them of choice flour with its oil mixed in shall be 3/10 of a measure for a bull, 2/10 for 1 ram, 1/10 for each of the 7 lambs, and there shall be 1 goat for a sin offering, in addition to the sin offering of expiation and the regular burnt offering with its meal offering, each with its libation. On the 15th day of the 7th month, you shall observe a sacred occasion. You shall not work at your occupations. 7 days you shall observe a festival of the Lord. You shall present a burnt offering, an offering by fire of pleasing odor to the Lord, 13 bulls of the herd, 2 rams, 14 yearling lambs. They shall be without blemish. The meal offering with them of choice flour with oil mixed in shall be 3/10 of a measure for each of the 13 bulls, 2/10 for each of the 2 rams, and 1/10 for each of the 14 lambs. And there shall be 1 goat for a sin offering, in addition to the regular burnt offering, its meal offering and libations. 2nd day, 12 bulls of the herd, 2 rams, 14 yearling lambs without blemish, the meal offering and libation for the bulls, rams, and lambs, in the quantities prescribed, and 1 goat for a sin offering, in addition to the regular burnt offering, its meal offering and libations. 3rd day, 11 bulls, 2 rams, 14 yearling lambs without blemish, the meal offering and libations for the bulls, rams, and lambs, in the quantities prescribed, and 1 goat for a sin offering, in addition to the regular burnt offering, its meal offering and libation. 4th day, 10 bulls, 2 rams, 14 yearling lambs without blemish, the meal offerings and libations of the bulls, rams, and lambs, in the quantities prescribed, and 1 goat for a sin offering, in addition to the regular burnt offering, its meal offering and libation. 5th day, 9 bulls, 2 rams, 14 yearling lambs without blemish, the meal offerings and libations for the bulls, rams, and lambs, in the quantities prescribed, and 1 goat for a sin offering, in addition to the regular burnt offering, its meal offerings and libation. 6th day, 8 bulls, 2 rams, 14 yearling lambs without blemish, the meal offerings and libations of the bulls, rams, and lambs, in the quantities prescribed, and 1 goat for a sin offering, in addition to the regular burnt offering, its meal offering and libations. The 7th day, 7 bulls, 2 rams, 14 yearly lambs without blemish, the meal offerings and the libations of the bulls, rams and lambs, into quantities prescribed, and 1 goat for a sin offering, in addition to the regular burnt offering, its meal offerings, and libations. On the 8th day you shall hold a solemn gathering. You shall not work at your occupations. You shall present a burnt offering, an offering by fire of pleasing odor to the Lord, 1 bull, 1 ram, 7 yearling lambs without blemish. The meal offerings and the libations for the bull, the ram and the lambs in the quantities prescribed, and 1 goat for a sin offering, in addition to the regular burnt offering, its meal offering and libations. All there you shall offer to the Lord at the stated times, in addition to your votive and freewill offerings, be they burnt offerings, meal offerings, libations, or offerings of well-being. So Moses spoke to the Israelites just as the Lord had commanded Moses.
Okay. This is what, I guess I should back up a little bit. This is, I'm going to say year 40. This is just before going into the land. And you get the impression, at least I get the impression, that during the 38 years, well, during the entire time in the desert, they didn't celebrate Passover. They may have done, maybe once, out of Egypt, yes, and maybe another year. But I don't think they celebrated it on a regular basis. But those 38 years are not even mentioned as to what happened. Anything important happened in those 38 years? Nothing worth mentioning. Pretty dry and straightforward. But here, they're getting ready to go into the land.
Into the promised land.
And God wants them to continue celebrating the Passover. And many of them with burnt offerings. And burnt offerings are totally consumed by fire, which is a indication of complete dedication and devotion. You know, you don't need it or it's not meant for you or anything like that. It's to display your complete dedication and devotion to God. And some of it's repeated, certain things you do on the first day and up to the 8th day and certain weeks of the month, certain full moon. But these are the sacrifices you would make in the, and how you would make them. But as best I can tell, almost all of them were burnt offerings. And there was 1 goat for a sin offering, but later on we'll learn there was 2 goats, but 1 was let go or thrown off a cliff. But these offerings were designed to acknowledge God and to draw closer to Him. It wasn't designed to be anything that's hurtful. Now, how did Levi get these animals all through the year? I don't know. I'm not sure if a tribe would bring animals or a family head would bring them, but there's a lot of animals. So I don't know all the nuts and bolts of how it would work. When the temple is reinstituted, I don't know if there would be a lot of animals. But it's hard to say what type of, if there would be sacrifices being offered. Or, well, sacrifices will be offered, but will they be animal sacrifices or sacrifices of Thanksgiving? And that's yet to be. We'll know when the temple is rebuilt. But I think that's all I have here.
Okay. All right. So, the next Parsha, next week is called Matot. Now, I wonder if there are two Parshas?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, just in case, because I got here on my notes, Masa'ai also, and Matot. So, just in case, that there may be 2 Parshas next week. But Masa'ai, and I think it is 2 Parshas. Matot is Numbers 32 through 32:42. And Masai, let's see. Yeah, Masai is 33:1 through excuse me. Yeah, I think it's gonna be 2 through through 36:11, I believe. Yeah, 36:11. So just in case there are 2 Parsha. So let me see how I have it. Matot has offering, festivals, vows of women, Numbers 31 through 17. Then it has war and first settlement, Numbers 31, 1 through 32, 42. Then it has, yes, I think it may be 2, because Masai is, let me just get it so I can get it straight. Masai looks like it has 3 parts. The first being journeys, a review of the wanderings, Numbers 33, 1 through 34, 29. And then the second one is Levitical towns, cities of refuge, and that's Numbers 35, 1 through 36, 13. So I kind of think we will have 2 Parsha. And it begins, Ve'yedaber Moshe el Roshi ha'matot lebnei Israel lamor. Ze ha'adaveh asher tzva Adonai. Moses spoke to the heads of the Israelite tribes, saying, this is what the Lord has commanded. And for Masai, beginning in 33:1, Ele Masai b'nei Yisrael asher yitz'u me'eretz Mitzrayim letzavaotam meyad Moshe ve'Aharon. These were the marches of the Israelites who started out from the land of Egypt, troop by troop, in the charge of Moses and Aaron. Okay? So I'm almost sure there will be 2 Parshas. Because their one was so short, I just don't think it'll be that by itself.
Okay.
Okay? So we'll be, we're going into the land. We're going into the land. And as I believe it mirrors what's happening today when Israel is returning back to the land. Very much so. God is shaking everything around the world. This whole world is being shaken. And his people are going home. So we look forward to that. And we, even though the world is being shaken, we're not to be afraid. These things must happen. And Yeshua said they must happen. And things will get worse. They will get worse. But our hope is in the Lord. No matter how bad things are, when storms come, our hope is in our Messiah, Jesus, and the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Let me ask you this question that I ask you frequently.
All right.
What do you have to say?
Well, I have this song sang last week.
All right. I was hoping you'd say that because I thought we'd get better and better. We're getting better and better.
Let's switch it up soon.
Okay. But we're so good. I mean, it gets so good. So we'll go through first together, and then we'll switch off where you start, and then I'll come in.
All right.
Sing hallelujah to the Lord. Sing hallelujah to the Lord. Sing hallelujah. Sing hallelujah. Sing hallelujah to the Lord. Okay, you start off.
Sing hallelujah Sing hallelujah to the Lord.
Sing hallelujah to the
Sing hallelujah.
Sing hallelujah. Sing hallelujah to the Lord. Amen. And we sing it. We are singing, as we used to say. We are singing. We are good. So we thank the Lord for his beneficence, for what he has done for us this past week. He is leading us into new territory. We are so happy that he is using us. We're being used of him and by him during this time. When the Messiah is coming, the birth pangs are closer and closer. And, we are to keep looking up, because he's soon to set foot in this time, in this dimension, to come out of eternity back into time and space as he did before. He is soon to do that. So we need to look up, for our Messiah draws near, and then we will reign with him for 1,000 years on this earth. That is magnificent. I look forward to that. He's preparing us to reign with him. So, we sing.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Tov.
Have a good Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, and have a good week.
Amen.
Oh, world is waiting.
Sing the song of Shabbat. Whole world is waiting. Sing the song of Shabbat. Whole world is waiting. Sing the song of Shabbat. Whole world is waiting. Sing the song of Shabbat. I'm also waiting. Waiting to sing the song of, I'm also waiting, sing the song of Shabbat. Whole world is waiting, sing the song of Shabbat. Whole world is waiting, sing the song of Shabbat.
Whole world is waiting. Sing the song of Shabbat. Whole world is waiting. Sing the song of Shabbat.